Tonight on Joy News Prime, National Labour Commission takes to radio to notify striking laboratory scientists of a court order directing them to call off their industrial action.
Going to court to compel the laboratory scientists to call off the strike.
But even as the NLC tries to resolve the strike, the Federation of Allied Health Professionals, comprising some 17 groups, has also called a strike in solidarity with the lab scientists. Also in this bulletin, spare parts dealers at Abusilkan vow to resist plans by the Greater Accra Regional Minister to relocate them.
So company for the DC minister no enya no credit enya dia ye be free na free achina na no credit no won kan kire no on ko gugu no nkro no say na say no on the bibi dia enya no credit nya dia obi abe.
We'll hear from the minister what becomes of the plan, and gender minister speaks of plans to get government to remove luxury tax of importation of sanitary pads as the world commemorates Menstrual Hygiene Day.
I have written to the Ministry of Finance to direct a follow-up on the removal of the luxury tax on the importation of sanitary pads.
In business, GCB Bank approved 66 million cedis to be paid as dividend to stakeholders following an impressive performance. Meanwhile, the bank is set to rebrand as GCB PLC.
This would be payable on Friday, 18th June 2021. to all shareholders registered in the books of the company as at the close of business on Friday, 28th May 2021.
And later in this bulletin, the police arraigns a 54-year-old caregiver at a crèche here in Accra who was caught on surveillance video brutalizing an 11-year-old baby who eventually...
The police arrested one of the caregivers. This morning, she has been put before the law court, and we await for the outcome of her appearance in court.
It's actually an 11-year-old, an 11-month-old baby. My name is Aisha Prime. Joy News Prime comes to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle here in Accra on your digital terrestrial TV, because we are free to air on DSTV channel 421 and on Go TV channel 144. Remember, this is your home of independent, fearless, credible, and impactful journalism. Do stay tuned in. Many thanks for choosing us. We begin with the life of a 50-year-old woman from the Ashanti region town of Antoa, who is in limbo as the patient who is in dire need of blood at the Menstrual Government Hospital remains uncertain as to when she will get at least a pint of blood to save her life. Her relatives say they risk losing her if she does not get access to blood. The woman, on referral from a private health facility, has been in need of blood since Wednesday. Her sister Nyakun says the family is in a fix as they await divine intervention. She spoke with Ohim Interior of our health desk, who has been monitoring the impact of the strike.
Relatives say results from blood samples taken to the laboratory have not returned since Wednesday, as the blood banks remain closed due to the ongoing strike by the laboratory scientists. The labs at the Menstrual Government Hospital also remain locked as stranded patients struggle for their services. A sister of the woman in dire need of blood, Nyakun, expressed the family's frustrations.
My sister has been on admission here. She was admitted 3 days ago. My sister is in dire need of blood. The laboratory scientists were supposed to have returned the results yesterday so they can start the transfusion. But we came yesterday only to be told the laboratory scientists are on strike. We are confused as to where we can get her blood. Do the laboratory scientists want to see my sister dead before they return to work?
We know the discomfort that the patients go through.
Responding to the concerns of the family, Ashanti Regional Chairman of the Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists, Eric Kofiedu said there's little the striking members can do to save the woman. He suggests the relatives arrange to get the woman transferred to a private facility.
I feel bad to hear her story, but I think that me feeling bad for her should also prompt the government also to resolve this matter once and for all. In fact, it is not our wish, it is not our liking that issues should get this way. If I had my own will, maybe I would have helped her out, but unfortunately the blood bank is locked. The medical soup and the administrator have locked up the place because they feel that once the strike is also on, there's no reason for lab scientists to be around. And so there's nobody around and the offices are all locked. And so in her situation, I wish I could help, but unfortunately, nothing can really happen now. Taking her out of the hospital is an option, but unfortunately, where exactly is she taking her to? Maybe to a private facility who may have the blood to give, but to a public facility, I doubt, because the same lab scientists should be around to help them. Unfortunately, the lab scientists are not there. So maybe the only option now is for her to take her to a private hospital.
But the family say they can no longer afford the cost of private care after a similar adventure at a brim had drained the family.
We have spent so much on her condition ever since we came here. Even then, she's yet to receive optimum care. She insisted we take her home to die or resort to consumption of vegetable to regain blood. But we cannot gamble with her safety. She should be held as quickly as possible.
From Kumasi, for Joy News, Menstrual reporting.
That was a report by Sanitary of our health desk. The Ghana Federation of Allied Health Professions joined the ongoing nationwide industrial action by laboratory scientists, describing the posting of physicians to work in medical laboratories as one with the potential to disturb the peace of the country. It marks an escalation of a strike which started at the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital in Kumasi and gained momentum when laboratory scientists in other public facilities across the country joined in solidarity with their colleagues. In a press release issued by the Federation and signed by General Secretary Franklin Owusu-Ansah, it expressed shock at the root cause of the industrial action, which is the posting of a physician to head the medical laboratory. Head of our health desk, Fred Smith, joins me via phone with more. Fred, tell us about the Ghana Federation of Allied Health Professions and why their strike. All right, so head of our health desk will join very soon, but General Secretary of the Ghana Federation of Allied Health Professions, Franklin Owusu-Ansah, I'm told, has joined via Zoom. Mr. Owusu-Ansah, you say in your statement that failure to resolve the matter will lead to undesirable ramifications. What ramifications do you see unfolding if the matter is not resolved?
And I'm the General Secretary for Health Services Workers Union. The Federation of Allied Health Professionals is 18 different professions who fall under the Health Services Workers Union, a bigger umbrella of about 40,000 workers of the health workforce. Yes, it's true, I have issued a statement on behalf of the Health Services Workers Union. And the medical scientists are one of the 18 professionals who all fall under the Health Services Workers Union. The issue that is at stake is not an issue against one person. It is an issue of implementation of lab policy that was developed in 2013, which should be implemented, which will regulate laboratory practice in Ghana. Unfortunately, the ministry have not been able to implement it. Similar actions have started long ago. It started from Kolebu and it did not work. All that the laboratory scientists are saying is that let the policy work. And you will agree with me that there is a regulator that is the Allied Health Professions Council, which regulates laboratory practice. And anybody at all who needs to work in the laboratory needs to get a SIN and a license. So if you don't have the license, you cannot practice in the lab. This is what they are saying. There's some years back, lab professions in Ghana where diploma holders has been evolved and developed, and now we have degree, MPhil, and PhD holders in this field. So if anybody says that if you are not a medical doctor, you can't head a lab, in fact, that is so too serious for us to even think of. And so we're saying that there is a possible ramification if this action is not resolved or the stance is not resolved by the ministry. Then the allied health profession, that is the other 17, will give a solidarity strike. And if this escalates, then the whole union, that's the 40,000 members, will join. The 18 allied health professions put together, there is about 12,000 employees in the health sector. So this is what we are looking at. This is the broader picture we are looking at. Also, we are saying the ministry should step in, resolve the matter, and implement the policy. Thank you.
Now, it turns out the National Labour Commission says the strike by the lab scientists is illegal and has secured a court order to get them to call it off. What becomes of your strike if those you are solidarizing with call off their action?
Thank you. As we speak, I have not seen the order, and yes, the National Labour Commission knows that we are in an essential service, and if we have an issue, it should be resolved in 7 days. Ask the National Labour Commission. Have they done that? About 2 years ago, this same matter went to the National Labour Commission. They have not been able to resolve it. Today, if somebody is taking another action, then they will tell you the action is illegal. Have they resolved the issue that is before them? Hello?
Yes, Mr. Osuansan, you're still on Joy News Prime.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm saying that it is not for me to say whether a strike action is legal or illegal, but it rests with the National Labour Commission, fine. But the same Labour Commission knows that as health workers, if we have any issue, it should be resolved in 7 days. 2 years ago, this matter came before them. Have they been able to resolve it? What have they done about it? So whose action is illegal here? If they know they have to resolve this matter and they have not resolved it in 2 years, whose action is then illegal?
Well, I'm grateful for your time. Mr. Franklin Owusu-Ansah is the Deputy General Secretary of the Health Services Workers Union. Now, Chairman of the Governing Council of the University of Education, Winneba, Professor Obim Mriku, is asking government and the Ministry of Finance to, as a matter of urgency, address the industrial action by the Senior Staff Association of the Universities of Ghana. The associations in the various universities are currently on strike, with the Ghana University Administrators Association also threatening to join. Professor Obim Mriku says the concerns of the two groups, if not addressed, will lead to disruptions of the academic calendars of the various universities. Professor Obim Mriku, who was speaking at a graduation ceremony at the University of Education, Winneba, also called on the Vice Chancellor's Ghana to intervene in order for peace to prevail on the various campuses. Richard Kwejanyako has more.
The chairman of the University of Education Governing Council, Professor Obim Mriku, senses there is likely to be a disruption of the academic calendar on the various campuses of the universities if the issues of the Senior Staff Association of Ghana are not addressed. Even more grueling, he says, is the looming industrial action by the Ghana University Administrators Association. He wants government, and by extension the Finance Ministry and Vice Chancellor's Ghana, to do the needful before it assumes a fully blown issue that would be too hot to handle.
We are appealing to the government and the Ministry of Finance to, as a matter of urgency, address the industrial action by the Senior Staff Association, Universities of Ghana, SSAUOG, and the looming industrial action by the Ghana Association of University Administrators, GAO. SSAUOG SAUOG members are currently on strike, and GAWA has indicated its intention to do same if the Minister of Finance goes ahead with a decision to stop the payment of certain allowances to some of its members. We are calling on the Minister of Finance to continue to engage unions with outstanding issues. I am calling on Vice Chancellor Ghana to, as a matter of urgency, intervene to avert any disruption to the academic calendar of public universities.
Professor Obim Mreku also spoke on the Fix the Country campaign being embarked on.
Let me add my voice to the recent social media campaign, quote and unquote, Fix the Country, and remind all Ghanaians that it will take our collective effort to fix our country. I admit that while the government has a major role to play in transforming our country, it cannot happen without the participation and contribution of citizens.
Vice Chancellor of the University of Education, Winneba, Professor Anthony Afobroni, paid a glowing tribute to graduates that are mothers who braved all odds to complete their programs of study.
You have worked so hard. And I remember when I was a Pro-Vice Chancellor, I used to travel around the country where I saw you in Henchi, in Navrongo, in all the places. And I remember seeing some of you, sometimes a baby at the back, while you are also pregnant and riding a bicycle and carrying your bag on top of your head. How you did it, it was only by grace. You have come very far. Congratulations.
The university on Wednesday was commended hugely by the president for their judicious use of their internally generated funds. They had used their funds to put up 8 sets of 500 capacity lecture theaters, a technology center, and a state-of-the-art student center. Reporting for Joy News, my name is Richard Kwejonya-Akon, University of Education, Winneba.
Back here in Accra, spare parts dealers at Abosiokan say they will resist any attempts by government to relocate them from their present location, setting up a possible standoff with the Greater Accra Regional Minister. Henry Korte disclosed on Adom FM this week that plans are far advanced to move the dealers to Afienya following discussions with the leadership, adding that a spare parts village will be constructed for the purpose of decongesting their current trading hubs and also create more job opportunities. Joy News' Kwekwa Asante, however, reports that dealers themselves are not keen on the relocation.
Greater Accra Regional Minister Henry Korte says this forms part of his Make Accra Great agenda in terms of ridding the city of filth and congestion. The plan is to move the spare parts dealers in Kokompe to Anyasotium and then the ones at Abosiokan to Afienya in Tema. We met the Kokompe and Abosiokan spare parts dealers. Originally, the plan at Kokompe was to do just a cleanup. But they voluntarily said they wanted to move. We have a 60-acre land at Anyasotium prepared by President Kufuor, so we will move them there.
Voluntarily, we met with Abosiokan.
And then we met the Abosiokan dealers. They also said they need more space and would want to relocate. We are currently talking to them, but we are likely to move them to Afienya because of the proximity to the harbor.
We are likely to take them to Afienya.
Afienya?
Yes, because of the proximity to a harbor.
But today, the spare parts dealers at Abosiokan say they will reject any attempt to relocate them.
Abosiokan is not a government land. It's an individual properties. And I am on fire shops. So see problem roadway and I congested in Tina here to me. I'm afraid to imply. What is the solution to the problem? The solution is clear for everybody to see. What do you say because of the clear Abosiokan to Afienya? Is it a joke or is it why?
For me, I would say it's not a good idea in the first place, because come to think of directors who have invested so much in building stores and doing such investments entails a lot. That means they put in a lot of money and giving it to traders to rent to do business. So the minister saying he's moving traders to Afinia is something which I think it won't work. Yes, 100% this is going to affect business, because you see a whole lot of people know this place as a very good business center where people travel from far and near to come and trade here. So moving business from this place to Afinia is going to be a different in which it will affect business in a drastic way.
Abaso company for the GCB minister no enya no kreda enya de aye be free ya na free achina na no kre no won kan kire no won ko gugu na krokro no say na say no on the bibi dia enya no kre nya de obi abeko, because ye han free krofo won sisi adan no na ye han free won.
And that's a report by my colleague Kwekwa Sante, who had gone to Abusilkain to engage the rank and file of the spare parts dealers. So it turns out the rank and file were not present at the meeting where it was agreed for the traders to be relocated and could result in a standoff with the Greater Accra Regional Minister. Henry Korte, who doubles as Member of Parliament for Ayawaso Central Constituency, joins me via Zoom. Good evening and many thanks for your time, Honorable Korte.
Your cherished viewers and listeners.
Was it to relocate the spare parts dealers?
Very well. So, for the records, government has not said that it is relocating the spare parts dealers at Abusilkain. Now, as part of the stakeholders' engagement under the Let's Make Accra Work agenda, we continue to engage stakeholders. In one of these stakeholder engagements, it came to light that the chairman of the Abusilkain Spare Parts Dealers Association did intimate to us that a smaller area for them to do this, taking cognizance of the international recognition that they have, it is imperative to relocate and to expand their business and also make it an enabling environment for all and sundry to patronize. So two things came up, and for the record, it wasn't a directive from the RCC or government for them to relocate. I want this to be for emphasis. Now, we were more interested in decongesting the roads and to make sure that there is free vehicular movement, especially on the roads that over the years they have encroached upon and turned it into and turn a major street that will ease traffic on the Kanishi Road into stores and tables that they trade on. So they again requested that they were going to have a meeting with the members of the association. My understanding is that there are close to about 5,000 shops and about another 5,000 to 6,000 tabletop and other traders and businesses over there, totaling close to about 12,000. So they were going to engage them. I don't know the means and the modalities that they use in engaging in their members.
All right. So it was a suggestion by the leaders from the Abusilkain, right? Absolutely. And not a directive from government.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. And I say this categorically. Not at all. So then we welcome the idea that if indeed the spare part dealers themselves are calling on government for them to relocate it, then we go into business. When I say business, get them acquire plots of land for them so they can have stores. And don't forget, they made us to understand that almost all the people there pay a very huge amount for over a period of some 5 years, and then that's it. So the idea was that this time around, they get stores that belongs to them, and it belongs to them forever and ever. And they are also able to do business in an enabling environment. So let the story not be told that government is moving them I find that very interesting. You see what I mean?
But it does appear that the leaders have not been able to get their followers to actually follow them. And what do you intend to do about the stalemate that has emerged? Because it turns out the rank and file are not for it.
Well, with the greatest of respect, it's not my business to go and convince the members there, because they have a representation. And I want to believe that, respectfully, when a captain of a football team speaks, he speaks for all. when a manager of a company speaks, he speaks for all. But if it turns out that the people that they are representing feels otherwise, then the onus lies on the co-chair and chairman of the association to go back and do their homework. Indeed, decongesting that street, that we will do. Because we are not saying they shouldn't sell there, but they have to free the street, free vehicular movement. And that they have to assist us to do that nicely. And I think that listening to the interview, he did allude to the fact that indeed they have taken over the street, and for that matter they will move off, and then that is fine. They're relocating to it's a long-term project. We have to go there, so we have to build. I don't think that can even have to give it the next 2-3 years. But the processes will have to begin. So it's a long-term thing, and I think that the media, and perhaps respectfully the way the interview has been done, creates the impression that if they are being moved tomorrow. Certainly not.
Okay.
And once again, for the records, government is still moving them.
What becomes of the new site if the people refuse to move there? Would you apply for?
Sorry?
What becomes of the new site that has been secured for them if they refuse to move there? Would you apply for?
Yes. Let's get it straight. We have not gotten there yet. This is not a Rambo-style movement. So getting a new site is different from having a discussion with them. They're going through processes that will ensure that they cut with sword cutting, stores are built, and then eventually there's movement. So it's not like come go tomorrow, everybody moves. No.
So you will continue to engage them until they agree and come along with you.
This engagement is not an enforcement or a directive from RCC. Okay. I want them to get that right.
Right. I'm grateful
for you and say, doctor, I'm not feeling well. I want to be treated. You didn't go to the person to say, hey, boy, you're not feeling well, so come to the hospital. Okay. I'm going to detain you.
So you're working with the leaders and the people themselves to find a solution to the problem you find over there at Abusokai.
Yes. The problem is that they have taken over a particular street that needs decongestion. Right. That is a separate matter. Relocating the chairman who have to speak to the chairman of the association who have to deal with their members. And when they are ready to move, then they RCC and we can continue the process. That's all. I'm
grateful for your time. Harry Cote is the Greater Accra Regional Minister. He also doubles as the Member of Parliament for Ayawaso area. And that's an 11-month-old baby girl who died after she was allegedly mistreated by a 54-year-old caregiver. The suspect, Clara Ayani Ampa, was picked up after management of Happy Bloomers Crèche at Agbogba made available to the police the footage from a CCTV camera in the room where the disturbing act took place. Allegra Yaba Akamensa was pronounced dead at the North Legon Hospital, where managers of the crèche rushed her. The parents subsequently lodged a complaint and the caregiver was arrested. Accra Region Police PRO Ifya Tenge says the suspect has since been put before court.
On the 18th of May, a report was received at the Agoba Police Station by the parents of an 11-month-old baby indicating that they received a call from the school that their child fell sick at the school. And so the baby was rushed to the North Legon Hospital for treatment, but unfortunately was pronounced dead on arrival. Based on this information, the police also followed up on this report and ascertained the veracity of the reports that were received. So as part of investigations, a CCTV footage from the Happy Bloomers crèche where the child was schooling was handed over to the police, which contained a very disturbing content. And out of what was witnessed in the CCTV footage, the police arrested one of the caregivers, whose name we have as Clara Nyanyi Ampa. This morning, she has been put before the law court, and we await for the outcome of her appearance in court.
That is Ifiatenge, Accra Region Police PRO speaking there. We are unable to show you that portion of the video because of its graphic nature. And still to come in this bulletin, Gender Minister speaks of plans to get government to remove luxury tax on importation of sanitary pads as the world commemorates Menstrual Hygiene Day.
I have written to the Ministry of Finance to direct a follow-up on the removal of the luxury tax on the importation of sanitary pads.
And business GCB Bank approved 66 million cedis to be paid as dividends to shareholders following an impressive performance. Meanwhile, the bank is set to rebrand as GCB PLC.
This would be payable on Friday, 18th June 2021. To all shareholders registered in the books of the company as at the close of business on Friday, 28th May 2021.
Details shortly when Charles Aite comes up with business.
You're welcome to Business. I'm Charles Aite. Shareholders of GCB have unanimously approved their proposal to pay a total dividend of more than 66 million cedis. The approval was given at the shareholders' annual general meeting in Accra. This follows the move by the bank to reward its shareholders after ending the year 2020 with a significant increase in profits and general performance of the bank. Here's more in this report.
This is the second time the bank is paying dividend to shareholders despite a directive from the Bank of Ghana to commercial banks not to pay dividends. The bank recorded growth in profit before tax of 610.83 million cedis from 573.67 million cedis in 2019, a 6.5% increase attributable to revenue growth. Here is board chairman of the bank, Jude Arthur, announcing the move.
Accordingly, based on our 2020 profits, strong capital and liquidity, the board of directors recommend a dividend payment of 0.25 pesos per share, representing a 25% increase in 2019. We have obtained regulatory approval from the Bank of Ghana, and subject to your approval, the dividend payment will be made to all shareholders registered in the books of GCB at the close of business on Friday, May 21st, 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, we have made good progress in spite of the challenges that came with the COVID-19 pandemic.
The board chairman also highlighted some significant performances for the year under review.
Despite the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic, your bank performed reasonably well for the year under review. The improvement in financial results was supported by balance sheet growth and income diversification. We recorded growth in profit before tax of 610.83 million cedis from 573.67 million cedis in 2019, representing a 6.5% increase, which was mainly attributable to revenue growth. Net interest income was up 29.1% from 1.168 billion.
Shareholders also approved a special resolution to change the bank's name from GCB Bank Limited to GCB Bank PLC and also amend the bank's constitution accordingly.
Now, government has given the assurance that funds borrowed for the establishment of the National Development Bank will not be paid by Ghanaians. Government has so far secured more than $300 million as initial capital from its development partners to support the bank's establishment. However, there are concerns that the impacts on the public debt stock and whether repayment will be done through taxes. But speaking on PM Express Business Edition, the Director of Financial Sectors Division at the Finance Ministry, Samson Akilego, said the debt will be solely repaid by the bank.
How is the repayment going to be worked out?
Oh, George, I can tell you the Development Bank is being modeled to be very financially sustainable. The only thing that makes it a bit moderate is that it has a big balance sheet. It has it has a government support. You know, that is why the EIB, the World Bank money, and because it's a big institution, each credit, you know, if you do the credit metrics for it, it's able to borrow at a lower, it's at a lower interest rate. So this is a financially, it is not any burden to the government. No.
But and when this thing came up and you followed discussions on social media, a lot of concerns out there was that, okay, so if government had this money, couldn't it have restructured the existing institutions and just turn them around, and rather to allow spend some extra money in collapsing some banks and then going in for this loan to set up? These are concerns out there. What do you tell those who are there who raise concerns? Listen, we spend X amount of money in cleaning up the banking sector, and now we are going in for a loan to set up another bank.
No, George, you know, I don't know. One, let me address the issue of the loan.
These are concerns.
Yes. The loan, you know, we are not, as I said, we are not getting for loans. See, for example, I think the World Bank facility, as I explained, is a line of credit. This is actually the money that the bank will use to work. Do you understand? And pay and make money, you know, yes, in addition to the bank's capital. So.
Meanwhile, Mr. Akilego says the bank will be insulated from political and external influence.
We have agreed, as part of the project's preparatory document, that all recruitments will be done through an independent process, independent competitive process.
And it's taking up next month. It means the recruitment is almost through, right? So
we have the board has gone through that process, independently selected and everything. We are also making sure that the rest of the process, again, it's an agreement between, as I said, we are not doing this alone. For the first time, we are bringing other parties across. Another thing that I also indicated is that we are going to have observer status from KFW and the World Bank on the board. And I also indicated that the board is going to have an international appeal. And then we would also make sure that I think as part of the regulatory framework and everything, the selection of the management and everything must be will be very transparent, again, through an independent process. So bringing these parties involved and having the commitment to make sure that we internationalize this institution has become one of the key underpinnings of this.
And that's how we end business. Sports is up next. To stay.
Thanks for staying with us. You're watching Joy News Prime Time to bring you sports. And the senior national team, the Black Stars, have opened camping today at Cape Coast. The players and the technical team are expected to assemble to begin preparation towards the two international friendly matches that were announced the fortnight ago. Ghana will take on the Atlas Lions of Morocco on Tuesday, June 8 in Rabat, before playing Ivory Coast on Saturday, June 12 at the Cape Coast Sports Stadium. The foreign-based players are set to start arriving in the country from tomorrow. Head coach C.K. Akono will use the test games to assess the strength of his squad ahead of the 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifiers in September. Let's get into the Ghana Premier League, and about 2 hours ago, Kerala United continued their poor form at home in the second round as they were held 1-1 by Great Olympics at the Crosby Ewa Memorial Park. Diawezi Taylor opened the scoring for the host, but Samuel Kwe equalized to ensure the Wonder Club head back to Accra with a point. And Great Olympics won. Let's check out the full complement of the fixtures for March Day 27. And we've got Aduana Stars tomorrow playing against Kumasi Asante Koroko. At Doma Liberty will play against Dreams FC on Sunday. Bechem United up against Elmina Sharks. Also on Sunday, Intalais versus Mediamark and Pfizer up against 11 Wonders. Wafa versus Ebusia Dwarfs. Ashanti Gold will play Legon Cities FC, and Accra Hearts of Oak versus Brecum Chelsea. And those are the games coming up in the Ghana Premier League for this weekend. That's it for sports for this installment. I'll bring you more later in the bulletin.
For more news, log on to myjohnline.com. We have all the stories. You see some headlines, including NLC secures injunction against striking laboratory scientists. There are many other headlines and the updates of developing stories when you log on to myjohnline.com. The news continues on Joy News. Now to the rest of our stories. Gender Minister Sarah Adwoa-Safo says she has written to the Finance Minister to direct a follow-up on the removal of the luxury tax on importation of sanitary pads. Advocates of menstrual hygiene have for years campaigned that the scrapping of the tax will make the pads more affordable for a lot more women and girls who for now are compelled to stay away from school for the period that they are menstruating. Vice President Dr. Baumia, during the 2020 election campaign, promised the administration would scrap the 20% levy. Speaking via video link on the commemoration of Menstrual Hygiene Day, Adwoa-Safo indicated she is working hard to get the tax removed.
The Department of Gender also undertakes mentorship programs for girls, which include topics on menstruation and personal hygiene, including the formation of girls' clubs within schools to act as a safe space for sharing. It's also important to note that the ministry, through the He for She campaign, continues to sensitize men and boys as advocates and champions in ensuring gender equality and women's empowerment. The needs of young girls is of utmost concern to me as a minister, and reducing the stigma around menstrual hygiene management is one that is very seriously on my agenda. And upon assumption to this office, I have written to the Ministry of Finance to direct a follow-up on the removal of the luxury tax on the importation of sanitary pads. It is my hope that through programs like this, we can break the silence, raise awareness, and change the negative social norms surrounding menstrual hygiene in Ghana.
Gender activist and broadcaster Oheneyere Gifty-Anti urged government to not only pay lip service to the promotion of menstrual hygiene, especially for the poor, but ensure they walk the talk.
Talk, we know how to do it. Every year we talk, but action, it's beautiful to hear the Minister for Gender talk about she has made a proposal. I pray to God, as a woman of faith, that by next year we will come here and say that that luxury tax has been removed. Hallelujah. For we've been pushing this for too long. Too long. Ladies and gentlemen, it is just common sense. It is not complex. It's not scientific. We all know the importance.
Join us, editor Israelite, a menstrual hygiene champion, joined other advocates to encourage more conversations about menstruation so that it ceases to be the taboo subject that it is right now.
At the schools, when we're talking about sexual reproductive health and you're talking about menstruation, let's not gloss over it. Let the boys be part of it. Let the boys appreciate what the women go through, or the girls go through when they're going through their period. At that level, yes, if you have 10 boys in the class, not all of them will empathize. But at least you're getting them to appreciate what it is at that level, so that when they find themselves at the level where they are making policies, they appreciate.
I get to schools and I realize that menstruation is like an abstract conversation in schools. A female teacher or a male teacher, let me even focus on the female teachers, they're teaching about menstruation and it really doesn't resonate with these girls and even the boys. So when I get to the schools and
Practically speaking, if I go there on a Tuesday and I'm menstruating, I boldly tell them that as I stand here or as I stand before you, I am menstruating.
When COVID struck, we did something by getting the schools this nose mask. I think we have reusable parts. Government can start something. I think that I supported her view by saying that there should be a mention. So we can start. If you have done nose mask, we can do reusable parts and then distribute to these girls.
We are now joined by founder of Bridge for Equity Ghana, Lily Pearl Baba Otu, one of those fighting to get part tax removed. I'm grateful for your time. What do you make of what the gender minister had to say about the scrapping of the luxury tax on sanitary pads?
I feel that more could have been done. Just saying that she has written to the finance ministry, I feel more could have been done because it's long overdue. We sent the petition last year, May, and that was what we were told, that they were going to send it to the finance minister for processes, for the due process to take place. So if 2021 we are still getting this feedback, I'm not really convinced, but I think it's better than none. So it's something that I would sort of laud.
How much is this tax, and why do you think it's been difficult for government to scrap it?
So there's a 20% import tax, and then there is a 12.5% VAT on it. And I can't really tell what the problem is with scrapping the taxes, but I have identified that if government is able to enable local production of sanitary pads, then we may not even need to import in the first place. So if we are able to enable local production, let's say every district, every community, every region has a hub that produces sanitary pads locally that are targeted at people in these rural communities, and even people who do not have the means to purchase the ones we are seeing in town now. They go in for that, they get used to the brand, then they grow up and that is what they know, and they keep using that brand, and then it fits into the agenda of purchasing made in Ghana goods. If we can still decide to, have these other brands that we have, that we are using now, but we can target that one to maybe high-level income people or middle-income people who want to go that way. Also, I feel that it's long overdue that government considers reusable sanitary pads, because these girls in these areas are already using rags. But imagine if you produce reusable sanitary pads for them. In this case, instead of using unhygienic materials, now they get to use hygienic materials. They get to wash it like the way they wash their rags, but this time around it's more hygienic, it's more efficient, and it's long lasting. It takes reusable sanitary pads take 3 to 5 years to be discarded. So imagine if you're getting a girl maybe 12 packs of reusable sanitary pads. She's going to be using it for the next 3 to 4 to 5 years. And so, I think this is how governments can, feed into the agenda of, taking off the taxes and enabling local production.
Is the removal of the tax enough to make pads accessible to all girls, especially those in rural Ghana?
No, it's not enough. However, I believe with everything, they say a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. So I believe this is one step that we can take to reduce the price, at least. Then we can involve the local production. We can involve other things. In fact, there are people who are advocating for government to produce the pads for free. But I don't believe in free pad production or free distribution of pads, because the problem with the free is that it's not sustainable, but it is a way to go about it. So we can take off the tax, we can enable local production, we can have the free ones also being distributed.
I'm grateful for your time. Let me say happy Menstrual Hygiene Day to all ladies. Now, Minority Leader Harold Njiso is accusing President Akufo-Addo of breaching the law over recent comments endorsing the banning of excavators. This follows the commencement of the fourth phase of the Operation Halt Part 2 team, which this time is focusing on the Ankobra River and clearing its tributaries. The military task force, as part of its mandate, has been banning mining equipment, but that move has been criticized by a section of the populace who wants the equipment to be rather put to use by the state. When the conversation came up on the floor during contributions on business statement for next week, the Minority Leader urged the House to invoke its powers and summon the Attorney General to justify why the President should not be held in check over his comment.
I read media reports of the President's pronouncement on excavators and banning of excavators in his style, in the President's style. We would want to summon the Attorney General to this House in accord with Article 88 of the Constitution as the principal advisor to government. Why the President should not be held in check for being in breach of the laws of Ghana and the Constitution of Ghana, save that some evidence, material, must be provided that banning excavators is sanctioned by the laws of Ghana, and I wait to see that law. I thank you. We will not accept he leading. Now, Speaker, I'll quote the President's exact words. Okay, the mantra, go to court. Mr. Speaker, go to court. That reminds me to quote as a ex-ante excess judicial power. It's never vested in the President. Ex-ante, that is extra judicial power he is doing. So, Mr. Speaker, where is his comfort? He's comfortable that people should go to court. We will question that. So the Attorney General will be brought before this House because we want him to lead the lawful Republic of Ghana in accordance with his oath to uphold the Constitution and the laws of Ghana and to hold himself accountable to the laws of Ghana. No law in Ghana today permits the banning of excavators.
But in a sharp rebuttal, Majority Leader Oseche Mensah-Bonsu reiterated the President's comments and urged those unhappy with the approach to seek redress in court.
Mr. Speaker, as for the other issue that he raised in respect of banning of excavators, I don't want to comment on that. Safe to say that the law provides for when a discovery is made of an excavator being operated by an operator, to have the operator, the Speaker, arrested. An excavator is found in a water body. It is not supposed to be there. And the operator vamooses and disables it by removing the vital cord so that it cannot be moved. What happens to it? You further cause a further demobilization. You cause further demobilization such that it cannot be used to further that misdeed, so that it can no longer be used to further that misdeed. Mr. Speaker, if anybody disagrees, there are avenues open for the person to litigate the matter.
6 convicted prisoners who committed petty offenses but could not pay their court fines have regained their freedom. It follows an intervention by the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative and OSIWA to pay the court-imposed fines at the Kumasi Central prisons. The released inmates had served between 1 and 6 months for failing to pay fines between 320 and 900 Ghana cedis for assault and stealing. My colleague Ohemen Teria has been following this for Joy News.
According to the Ghana Prison Service, the country's prisons are overcrowded by 52%. The number of the inmates admitted are double the capacity of the facilities. One of them is the Kumasi Central Prisons. Built to house only 600, the facility currently accommodates over 1,800 inmates. Prison authorities say about 40% of inmates committed petty crimes and are unable to pay court fines. DSP Francis Yao Apau is the Assistant Criminal Records Officer at the Kumasi Central Prisons. He wants groups and organizations to help pay for the fines of inmates languishing in jail for petty offenses such as stealing, assault and traffic offenses.
Some prisoners with petty fines, 300, 400, 500, 600, they are all bunched up here, adding up to the number of congestion or the seriousness of the congestion in our facility. So when we get such gestures, indeed it will go a long way to ease the pressure on this facility. Averagely, those with petty offenses, they are the people that come in a lot. They constitute about 40% of the total population.
Advocacy Nuyakon, a taxi driver, was convicted for stealing by the Bekwai Circuit Court. For failing to pay a fine of 336 Ghana cedis, he was sentenced to a 10-month imprisonment. Advocacy, who talked about congestion at the prisons, is now a free man after the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative paid the fine.
I did 23 years. Me to a France kokori. Me ne madam fo. Ene nam na madam fo no eji obiska. To eji obiska no dwane no mo chie me. Chef fine 8.4. Me ba anyoma bebre na ma besia ne ano. Is a central prison ye easy. Empa ba ko ye dampa ba ko ase empa no. Ye boy nipa maku 18. Enye ize say ubetimi aten no o sole so a una biem kopim say de be chinye ize na minyan mo abontin o mun show mu ye o ayonko fa ho if you say namfo betim do akon so bebelem.
The Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative, in collaboration with Osiwa, is paying fines of petty crime offenders. It forms part of its increasing advocacy for the decriminalization of petty offenses project in Ghana, which has already paid for the court fine of 60 inmates. Officials hope the project will help decongest overcrowded prisons in the country. Anthony Sejo is the project officer for access to justice at the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative.
We believe that people who commit petty offenses like hawking, like traffic offenses, should not find themselves in jail. We believe there should be a non-custodial sentencing law so that some of these people will do community service or they will do communal labor. We are doing this advocacy because our prisons are already congested with petty offenders. And then COVID happened, coronavirus happened, and we realized that coronavirus, if any of them there should be an outbreak in any of the prisons, it can easily spread because they are already overcrowded. And so with the support of Open Society Initiative for West Africa, OSIWA, we decided to write to the Ghana prisons and pay the fines of at least 60 people who are in jail. And so far, we have done for a number of prisons, Ewutu Camp, Winneba Prison, Ankafo Maximum. So we decided to come to Kumasi to come and pay for some of these offenders that we believe should not be in jail in the first place.
From Kumasi, for Joy News, Oimi Interior reporting.
Let's come back to Accra, where Vice Chairman of Parliament's Education Committee, Dr. Prince Ama, is asking teachers and headmasters not to shy away from making it public schools facing challenges under the free senior high school policy. He argues the challenges expressed by some stakeholders are isolated cases. The Kwesimintim MP observed that government has already initiated review processes to improve the program. Speaking to Joy News' Parkwesi Parker Wilson, he insisted the quality of education has improved, contrary to claims that the introduction of the policy has reversed the gains in the education sector. He's also cautioning stakeholders against comments which seek to undermine the objective of the policy.
There are certainly processes to examine the implementation of the policy and to review. And there has been reviews in the process. Review does not mean that once you start for a number of years, then you come to a halt and then start reviewing. Even as you implement, there are some changes that are done. So, for example, when the free senior high school program started, the qualifying grade to enter into the secondary school was don't get grade 9 in maths and English. Subsequently, that has changed. So there are quite a number of things that have changed. And I think that some of the concerns that I have heard are more overgeneralization.
Overgeneralization?
Very overgeneralization. And you cannot review policy based on overgeneralizations. You need to be very specific in terms of what are the issues confronting free senior high school.
What have talked about?
What are the issues? The issues are one.
About contact hours.
The issues are one. They have raised issues of contact hours. What do you mean by contact hours? Contact hours are the periods that the children have access to learning experience with their teachers. It has not reduced. As far as the free senior high school is concerned, we are running a semester system. But the semester system, in terms of the number of days or number of months the children stay in school, has nothing to do with the contact hours. So that argument on the face of evidence available does not hold. There has not been any reduction in contact hours.
So there is nothing to be reviewed
that can be said with fact, okay. Because as you said, the initial contact hours was about 1,080 or so, and then under free senior high school program it's come to about 1,130 something. I can't recall, but there has been an increase in contact hours. The fact that somebody stays in the house 3 months has nothing to do with loss of contact hours. I understand and agree perfectly that our entire education system, our major challenge is accountability system. That you are able to identify the problems and then be able to address them. But even identifying, if the officers there are not providing you the information,
you want the teachers to list the schools that have challenges.
Exactly. Exactly. You need to do that, because if you do not identify those specific schools, and you say free SHS is not working, free SHS has reduced quality. What quality? Who defines what quality is? One of the key indicators of definition of quality learning outcome is assessment. And you are in this country, and you are aware of the overwhelming percentage of our young people who are product of the free senior high school program, who had high qualifying grades in the 2020 examination at the time when these children were, at the time when the country was under or is under COVID. So you cannot in any instance say that quality has gone down, except you have your own definition of what quality means.
The Ghana Education Service is today rallying the support of parents to fully embrace the free SHS policy despite recent challenges. GS says it will address issues of inadequate space for students, but insists academic work has not been hampered by the policy. The double track system that is set to ensure that there is more space for students through an arrangement that sees students grouped to ensure multiple use of same facilities at different times has been heavily criticized. The Ghana Education Service, however, argues contact hours have been increased aside from ensuring that thousands receive education. Dr. Kwabena Tando is Deputy Director General in charge of quality and access at the Ghana Education Service.
In the double-track semester system, the students are in school for 8 months. In the trimester system, they were in school for 8 months and 2 weeks. We have established those facts based on public records and evidence of timetables and academic calendars. Now, when we were introducing the double-track, we also sat down with NACA, which is the Authority on Curriculum Delivery, design and the application of curriculum. And we knew that in senior high school, you could increase the contact hours per day to 7 hours a day. So we increased the contact hours to 7 hours per day instead of 6 hours in our old semester. Now, 8 months, it calculated to 162 days of teaching instead of 180. Now multiply your 162 days by your 7 hours a day, and already, even though we have reduced by an insignificant 2 weeks of time, we had increased our contact hours from 1,080 in the old system to 1,134 per academic year for any student using the semester and the double track system. Contact hours is what we all need to be thinking about. Now,
still on education, let's talk about the National Maths and Science quiz, because that will come later. The Ghana Statistical Service has identified all sleeping spots used by homeless persons in the Ashanti region for the enumeration in the National Population Housing Census. The population in the region is projected to hit 6 million, making it the most populated region in the country. Nana Ojima was at the launch of the 2021 Population and Housing Census in Kumasi and has filed this report.
According to the Statistical Service, most areas captured for the homeless are around the central business districts. Major lorry terminals will also be targeted by enumerators for the homeless, including persons with mental illness roaming. Security persons will also be deployed with enumeration team to slums within the period. Regional statistician Kobina Abeka Ansa explains further.
The majority are in Kumasi. We can talk about Asafu, can talk about KDTI. If you go to Alaba, I mean, wherever we have this major lorry parks, these persons are found there. In front of offices, if you come to Edum, immigration and those areas, in the evening, sometimes when I come to the office, you see these people with their children sleeping there. They have made those places their home. These people form a certain segment of the population, those that we call the vulnerable. And the government is interested in making provision for them. So if you don't have their number, how are you going to provide for them?
Special arrangements will be made for persons in transit as well as occupants of hotels. Mr. Ansa explains appropriate measures are adopted to ensure the privacy of persons captured.
First go there a day before. That's on the morning of the census night. We'll go and then issue the questionnaire to the receptionist. Capture some information about the people who will be there on that census night. So we sometimes leave the instrument with them to do it for us, in order not for us to interfere with whatever they have gone there to do. You know, we have the people's privacy also at hand. We don't want to step on anybody's toes. Whilst we're even here, I had calls that some of the materials have come in. It started coming from Monday, but today when we were here, we have received materials for the 5 sub-metros within the massive metropolis. Most of the districts have indicated that they have received the materials already. What is left, that I know, that some are left yet to come, are the tablets.
At the end of the period, approximately 6 million people are expected to be enumerated in the Ashanti region. Launching the program on behalf of the President, Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah called for public support for a successful census.
The census will provide us with adequate data to help us measure, monitor, and estimate the extent to which we have made progress on our national development agenda. Indeed, the data collected will guide us to measure the socio-economic status of our people. Ladies and gentlemen, this year's census is unique and different from all censuses that Ghana has ever undertaken in several aspects of the exercise, and even by the reports that will be emanated from this national exercise.
And now to the National Maths and Science quiz. Ketasco, Olagel, Sogakope, Sunrise, and Dojepeni Senior High have all qualified for the semi-finals of the Volta OT Absa Bank Science and Maths Quiz Championship. The contests were not without surprises, though, as Bishop Herman College was last in their contest after a sterling performance to qualify for the National Championship in October. Maxwell Agbagba has the wrap.
Think of us, speak for us, work with us, speak for us, Queen of Apostles, the star of them all.
Great voices, congratulations.
Congratulations. It was a nail-biting contest. At a point you thought you were going to lose, right?
Well, we are not too excited, though we could have done better than what we did today. And we hope that tomorrow we step up our game and then give the other schools a bit of competition.
Okay. So that will happen in the semi-finals on Saturday, right?
Yes.
Okay. What should we expect?
Okay, we are going to prepare and come back well. Our mistakes, we'll work on them and we'll correct them when we come tomorrow.
Okay.
You guys should expect all the best from us because we promise that we're going to do our best, and when we come, we'll bring out our best with God by our side. Yeah.
Of the regional championship, and the gentlemen here are so excited, and they are saying they'll be winning the trophy. Congratulations to Keta Senior High Technical School.
I was the former assistant headmaster administration in the school.
What's your name?
Yes. In fact, I was in Keta School as the assistant headmaster administration for about 6 months, and in fact, these guys, they are no joke. You can't just overwhelm them. Whatever opposition that comes their way, they are going to surmount it. They have trained, and we have always made sure that we provide all the facilities and materials for them to use for their learning. So I don't think with this, they can let us down. Yeah.
Okay, so we should expect more?
Oh, very much. In fact, I am now a headmaster of Shian Secondary Technical, but I came here purposely to support them. So I know that tomorrow they are going to lift the final trophy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Hey, my people, do you know that we don't talk much?
Yeah.
We just show action. We just show action. We just show action. That's the only thing we want to say now. That's the only thing. We don't talk much. We don't talk much. We don't talk much. We hit, we hot, we never get cold. Oh,
Sir, I want to tell the whole world that in Keta Senior Technical School, there's admission still going. They should stop. They should run away. Transfer is free.
We shall fight. We shall win. In the mighty name of the Lord. Oh, we shall fight and win. In Jesus' name, victory shall be ours.
Sunrise SHS, they've qualified. Nothing but the best. Okay, tell me, what has been your secret, Sunrise?
There is no secret, but as the name implies, sunrise, we always grow in the sun. Therefore, if you see us, you don't expect us to go down, but always to rise and fly with the eagles. Thank you.
Okay. So what should we expect in the main competition in October?
We expect to do very well and take the trophy back, and take the first trophy of them, and take the trophy. That's for the first Volta Regional Championship in NSMQ.
Sunrise Senior High School, he qualified for the semi-finals of the Volta Region Championship. Now remember, the Volta OT Region Championship is actually the search for the school which is not the best when it comes to science and maths here in the Volta region. That's some shocking results we've had here today. One of the schools, one of the big names when it comes to the NSMQ, Bishop Herman College, they qualified here the national championship, but disappointingly they crashed this afternoon. They had 13 points in their contest. Jojo Penny SHS had 28 points, Awudome had 25 points, EPC Mauko Girls had 23 points, and then Biheko, the good old Biheko, they had 13 points. So they are out of the regional championship, but they are still in the national competition, which will take place in October. Another shocking news that we received today was actually Sugakope SHS, Burman, and then Angla SHS and Mary SHS. Sugakope SHS actually qualified. And then Katasco, they did magic here just some hours ago. In fact, they won with the highest points that we've ever seen, 73 points here, the highest points that we've seen here in the Volta and OT regions. And they say that it's going to continue to the nationals.
Maxwell Agbagba, with that wrap, we'll take a break. We'll bring you the second part of business and sports. So stay tuned in.
You're welcome back to business. The agri sector will receive more investment, particularly from the private sector, if government adopts the food storage policy and warehouse procedure manual. The chief executive of the Chamber of Agribusiness, Anthony Morrison, believes that strongly that government should consider discounts for those operating the warehouses. Food items will be preserved properly, which will reduce the rate of post-harvest losses. Speaking to Joy Business, Mr. Morrison says the country's storage system can only last for 3 weeks.
Food security is a national security issue, and we shouldn't be joking with our storage system. We know, for instance, we always want to use the US as our benchmark. US, for instance, have a storage capacity that can feed its citizens for about 10 years. And that is a country of about 400 million people. In Ghana, our food storage capacity can only feed us for 3 weeks, and we are 32 million people. That should tell you the challenge we have. Now, the impact on private sector, the private sector will now see a reason to invest into productivity and storage facility, where government will look at a way of discounting the services that are provided by the warehousing system. I know the Ghana Stock Exchange, the Food Stock Exchange also have a system which is the warehouse receipt system in place, and the buffer stock is promoting the national food storage policy. At the end of the day, if I'm to do about 10,000 acres of maize, I can directly give it to the national food storage company to store it, and government can give me a continuous discount in the process, and I know that I can monetize my goods that are in the warehouse, and also I know that I'm strengthening food security for the next 5 to 10 years.
The Asante Hino 2432 II has encouraged the Ghanaian business community to be quick in adopting new technologies if they are to stay globally competitive. He is positive that such technologies will ensure business continuity and sustainability in the wake of growing economic uncertainty. The Asante Hino was addressing the annual accountancy conference by the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana held in Kumasi, where Prince Apia reports.
The Asante Hino was addressing the annual accountancy conference by the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana held in Kumasi.
We need to be abreast with technology because the business environment is changing, and we must learn to change along with it. So today, our businesses have become technology-driven because we are steadily digitizing and harnessing virtual payment platforms to drive a cashless economy. We need to remind ourselves that the accounting profession comes with onerous responsibilities and heavy duties. Technological advancement can improve the accountant's ability to reduce errors, interpret data effectively and efficiently, and thereby enhance decision-making. The challenge is how you, as professionals, not only stay up to date with most recent advances in technology, but also adapt the technology where necessary to suit our local conditions and environment in order for our businesses to stay healthy, productive, and competitive in our globalized world.
He encouraged the business community to be quick in adopting new technologies if they are to stay globally competitive. The Otumfuo also encouraged accountants to increase collaboration with other professionals to maximize opportunities for Ghanaian businesses under the African Continental Free Trade Area.
The fragile state of the Ghanaian economy may seem to expose us to greater risks. On the other hand, one has to wonder whether the economy can withstand any cutback on spending, especially during this period. Not only do the people of Ghana have to understand and indeed appreciate the policy options we make, we need the international community also to be reassured that the policies have the broad support of informed opinion in the land. And that is on you, the Institute. Ghana has been fortunate to be the host country for the new African Continental Free Trade Area. It is an opportunity of a lifetime, and I hope our businessmen and women and upon advice of the chartered accountants, to step up the plate to reap the benefits of this massive global market.
More than 1,000 accountants converged at the CCC auditorium in Kumasi for 3 days to discuss issues affecting the association. Professor Williams Atwilik is president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana.
We accept wholeheartedly the challenge that you control the profession to become a voice on national issues. We take that challenge and we will do the best that we can to bring our expertise on national issues. We also take the challenge to collaborate with other professions so we can come up with ways that we can take the country forward post-COVID.
Prince Apia reporting.
One of the lessons that COVID-19 has taught economies world over is the need for STEM education. Here in Ghana, even though government has initiated various programs to ensure that students as well as workers adapt to STEM, much more concerns have been raised regarding the synergies between the private and public sector in making this work. To this end, stakeholders within the value chain of STEM education have deliberated on ways of building partnerships to improve STEM education. There is more in this report.
The program, under the theme Understanding Ghana's STEM and Entrepreneurship Agenda and its impact on education in the 21st century, provided opportunity to understand government's plan for STEM education and how the private sector and other stakeholders can support government's efforts at driving the STEM agenda. Most developed countries have grown rapidly due to their STEM strategy hinged to industrialization. Francis Ahine Afo is the Senior Vice President of Dream Oval Foundation.
GSTEP is going to be a 3-year program, running this in collaboration with other partners who are experienced in their own field to ensure the successful implementation of this project. This is why government being the public sector of this program is also part of this to support this initiative. Our aim is to drive this to the hilt and get every child or 20,000 children targeted for this program to go through our program and ensure that they are monitored to the highest level. This is why we are providing them mentors, we are providing them industry visits to understand clearly how STEM is applied in the practical job market. Our goal for the next 3 years is to impact the lives of 20,000 children, and we are focusing on 2 regions for now. But after the 3rd year, we are going to focus on driving this initiative to the rest of Ghana.
Dean of Engineering of Academic City University College, Dr. Lucy Ejapon, also explained how the universities can connect with industry with the provision of talents to facilitate work and development.
What we will be bringing to this collaboration is looking at how we at the tertiary level can bring our practical hands-on learning and teaching capabilities to this prize challenge, so we can work with them at the junior high school level, at the senior high school level, so that we can shape and change our students for the future so that they can all embrace STEM and do STEM joyfully. I think this is a great initiative because it is required. If we're able to introduce students, girls in particular, from all different walks of life to STEM at a very early age, then we can together transform our nation for the better.
Science, mathematics and technology education has seen some growth over the years, but it is not clear whether it has translated into the development that the nation requires.
Just before we end the bulletin on business, let's bring you updates on business news around the world. And that'll be all for business. I'm Charles Aite.
And that's how we wrap up the bulletin tonight. My name is Aisha Brian. Many thanks for watching. Enjoy your weekend and enjoy the rest of our programs.